Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. Well, the word for this week is metanarrative. I'll get to that in a minute. First, let me tell you, I'm starting this week here in a library of sorts. It's a small library, but it's a great library. It's got some really good books. And you'll see there's an assortment of books in here. And these books, some of them are wonderful, independent little volumes. Like, well, here's Faust. Hold on, let's see if we can get it here. I think this is Goethe's Faust. Faust is a story that involves a doctor who basically sold his soul to the devil for this wonderful, long, and prosperous life. And as his life draws to a close and it's time to pay his debt, he's not too excited about it. One of my favorite Faust tellings is by Christopher Marlowe, who wrote a play called The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus. But this was a popular medieval slash Renaissance subject to ride on as people were intrigued with this idea. Each volume or each book tells that story. Now, if I keep going down the shelves though, look at this. Here are 3 different books. This is The Fellowship of the Ring, The Return of the King, and The Two Towers. Actually, those are in bad order. It should be The Two Towers, then The Return of the King. But these 3 independent volumes have one overarching story among them. It's by Tolkien. It's the story of the Fellowship of the Ring. It is the story of the fight against evil that's conducted by the hobbits and Bilbo Baggins and Frodo Baggins and others as they try and do it. Now, that's got a meta narrative. It's got the narrative of each of the individual volumes, but there's this overarching meta narrative that goes through all of the works and, in a sense, ties them together. Now, the Bible is a collection of 66 books. But in the Bible are meta-narratives. There are storylines that tie it all together. Because even though they're individual volumes, they can be read individually. There's this overarching storyline that takes you from the very first book to the very end. Now that storyline is expressed in different themes. One of the themes that's a popular theme to talk about is the theme of temple. I was with NT Tom Wright last week, and he's got this really great ability to trace the temple theme through the Bible. But beyond that, that's not the only theme that's involved in this meta narrative. Another theme, and one that's fresh on my mind, is the theme of marriage. Now, this is fresh on my mind because our daughter Rebecca just got married. And I had the honor of getting to perform that marriage Saturday night. But it's gotten me to, in my brain, to a point where I want to talk about it this week as a meta-narrative. Now, you get marriage in the very earliest pages of the Bible. God sets marriage up as the very first relationship. It's the primary first relationship we read about in the Bible, as man first is not good alone, and among all the creatures that have been made, there's not one that's a suitable creature for him in a unique relationship of marriage, and so God creates Eve. And Adam and Eve established that first relationship, and it's one that's got a very important message, not only for people and our need for relationship, but ultimately a message about that overarching storyline of the Bible, the way God seeks to relate to his people. So as we think about this today, I'll just start with the very plain and simple. We human beings are wired for a relationship. It's the way our brain works. You know the expressions, no man is an island. We're not good alone. The Greeks had an expression, one man is no man. One person is no person. We don't do well alone. But this idea that we're made for relationships is a theme that God's put in place with very specific representations like marriage in place for us to better understand our relationship with Him. And that's where we're going to go with this week. So join me in this meta-narrative week. Hit like, hit save. You can hit subscribe if you're on YouTube, and it will automatically ping you when we post the new messages. But this week, we'll look at this meta-narrative of marriage and see it in relationships not only we have in this earth, but more importantly, how they reflect our divine interaction with God Himself. More to come, but this is your video thought for the day.